to AC3TV's executive interview stream, and more specifically our Thought Leadership series, where we put key leaders from our industry on the spot, so to speak, to talk about pertinent issues of the day. I'm Rebecca Wilson, and today I'm going to be speaking with Gerry O'Shaughnessy, one of the leading lights of the contact centre industry in Australia. He's the director of the award-winning contact centre at A&G Insurance Services and a board member of the ATA. Welcome, Gerry.
Thanks for the opportunity.
So, Gerry, you've been involved in the contact centre industry for a number of years now. If I asked you to reflect on that time, what would you say were the top 3 impacts on operations of contact centres in Australia?
10 years in the industry at this stage. Number one from me would be the acceptance of the call centre industry itself as a cost-effective and well-regarded channel, one that's had a lot of money invested in it and now has the, I suppose, it has the confidence of the business owners that it is a standalone channel and it's effectively grown very, very well.
Yeah.
So that would be number one, the acceptance of the centre.
Mm-hmm.
The second would be the fluctuation in staff supply, both from an internal and an external point of view, and by that I mean some focuses we've had from outside, I should say external focuses, where the mining industry itself has dragged a lot of people to other parts of the country. That in itself has stopped some investment in some of the regional parts of Queensland where people may well find a cost-effective base but can't get any staff. The GFC obviously had some problems over the last few years. I think most of them are over that. But by internal, on the other side of the fence, I think a lot of businesses have invested well to grow opportunities for their staff. And I think if anything, we've seen maybe 50% do that very well, but still some opportunities for others to invest to keep people within the industry rather than see them come in, join, leave to go and find employment elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Third point, and I think this is the biggest one that I've seen, particularly in the last 5 years, is the growth in the e-commerce space and how that has provided some very, very cost-effective channels for businesses to actually deal with their customers. But from a contact centre point of view, it's really been our challenge, I think, both over the last couple of years and in the future, is to grow that element and is to merge the contact centre channel with the actual the online ability. Those that have done that well, I think, have benefited greatly, and those that need to do it better probably should focus on it pretty quickly. So they'd be the 3 key areas.
So what, if we pick up on that e-commerce piece that you mentioned as your third point, what does that mean for operations of contact centres in the future then?
Well, I think you need to have a seamless overflow from where a contact, when a potential contact is actually online and needs support. So it's about building those support mechanisms, be it chat, be it effective service centres who can deal with people, help them online, and then help them to go back online or help them to actually finish a transaction or a piece of service within the centre itself. So I think they'd be the 2 areas I'd focus on.
So what, coming out of that, what's the next big thing in your opinion?
Given the growth in e-commerce and I think the strength of that space over the next few years, I think customer service excellence in the contact centres will really win out. Those that do that exceedingly well will end up winning the customer's confidence, because so many customers will deal with the online elements, and from time to time they'll need to come in, and I think our staff, generally speaking in the industry, will become more specialists and will end up being very, very well regarded and potentially better paid than they are at the moment. So I think those that go down the path of specialising in that space will make a significant difference to the industry. The second part of that is driving service, and I think in a business it's really about having a whole of business approach to supporting the contact centre and supporting the online piece, not having a division between the two, so that you're typically your head office environments like your IT, your e-commerce, your marketing, finance, they're all actually committed to a service culture within an organisation. And I think those companies that have done it well to date will certainly do it well in the future. And I've just finished reading Walter Isaacson's book about Steve Jobs, and if anyone is interested in understanding a vision and putting a vision in place, read that book. Walter Isaacson, Steve Jobs. Not the most popular man at Apple, but certainly the most looked after, and took their customer service to a level of design and futuristic that many people would strive to achieve in years to come.
Yeah. So we hear a lot about the National Broadband Network in the media. Where will that fit in with your vision of the future?
I think it's going to help the industry grow significantly. It'll help the industry move into areas of potential employment that doesn't exist at the moment, and make it cost effective. The flip side to that may well be that places where broadband could take employment and contact centres are also places where there's mining or mining related, and we may have a problem with purely with the number of staff to be able to be obtained, but also the price that they're paying and the market prices. So that could be an issue. But certainly broadband is going to open up significant parts of rural Australia, the southern half of Australia, I would say, leaving out Western Australia and Queensland from this discussion.
Yes.
Because of the mining. Yes, indeed.
So Gerry, if you were advising a manager brand new to the contact centre industry, what would you suggest should be his or her primary focus?
Wow, the first thing would be to hope nothing's broken at the time, and spend the first 2 to 3 months understanding the jargon, the lingo, the cultural differences within a contact centre, and I'm assuming it's someone who's new to the business.
Yes.
And then assuming that your people that you're working with have it right, allow them to run the business, focus on the metrics, focus on the jargon, but mainly focus on the people. Understand who are your people that you have, are they the right people to take the business moving forward? And then the next piece I would focus on is how strategic is that call centre to that business? Are they a service element, are they a sales and service element, and then working in that space?
So you mentioned there looking out for the people and getting to know the people. There's quite often a conflict seen between those KPIs, and the jargon and the analytics, and the people side. Do you see that conflict, and what comment would you have on that?
Look, some do it well, some don't. I think a business that's run well will have very well understood KPIs or targets or goals within the business. They're not all KPIs or KRAs. I think the staff need to understand that they're there to do a job, and part of that is achieving a goal. So they should be supported by their team leaders or managers to achieve that. And I think if that becomes your culture, you won't have an issue. I think the issues usually arise where a centre is either over the top in terms of of their expectations, or the staff don't understand what the business is about and or the goals that are needed. So to me, middle of the road, have fair targets, fair KPIs, KRAs, and understood well by the staff, and you won't have an issue.
Finally, Gerry, I mentioned at the top of the interview that your centre has won a number of ATA awards over the recent years. Without giving away any secrets, obviously, what do you think have been the keys to your success in that space?
I think the readiness of the business to participate, having a product, in our case, an end-to-end process that was well supported by our IT, very well supported by our staff. Our leadership group were very strong, and they were looking for an opportunity to grow and show what they do. And at the time it was about, yes, this is the right time. Probably it was a year early, but we jumped in anyway. Practice, and practice. Defining the goals, share the challenges and the workload across a bunch of people that can participate was a great event for us, and that carried through. And at the end of the day, you need to have one person who's the director of the operation, so to speak. So appoint that person, give them the challenge to run the show, and then go for it.
Well, thank you very much, Gerry, for taking the time to share some of your thoughts with us today. I'm sure all of our viewers will have found it very useful.
Thank you very much indeed, and thank you for the guys for the opportunity. Cheers.